Welcome to our latest episode of Legends of Cricket Unplugged. Today we have with us a very special guest, a former Pakistan international cricketer, a household name in Pakistan cricket during the 80s and 90s, a former number one test ranked batsman in the world back in 1991, a brilliant opening batsman. He was also the second fastest Pakistani to 2,000 runs, second to Javed Miandad. He belongs to one of the most well-renowned, impactful cricketing families of the modern era, with a rich history of contributions for Pakistan cricket. No less than 11 members of his family have represented Pakistan. His father was regarded as one of the finest batsmen ever produced by Pakistani and Shoaib Mohammad, and his uncles included Wazir Mohammad, Mushtaq Mohammad, Sadiq Mohammad, and Rais Mohammad, all who have represented Pakistan in a true fairy tale story for the ages, where five brothers all represented their country. Delighted to welcome Shoaib Mohammad, who joins us today. Assalamu Shoaib bhai, kya haal aapka? How are you?
Walaikum Salam, Sharid. It was a wonderful intro. I must say thank you for such kind words.
Shoaib bhai, your playing career, you were known for having incredible amounts of concentration, handling pressure, dealing with adversity, and having a real robust attitude, which you demonstrated in countless performances. In 45 test matches that you played, you had an average just shy of 45, I believe, with 7 centuries and 13 half centuries, which included 2 double centuries as well.
Yeah.
Your finest hour being 203 not out, I think, against India, which you then replicated again a few years later against New Zealand. What would you suggest to our current batsmen in the Pakistan cricket team who are struggling for concentration, who often play loose shots and get out early after being set?
Sharid, the thing is, unless you occupy the crease for longer, a time period, then only you are able to score big runs. If you are content with 30s and 40s, and that's the maximum what you think of, then of course, you have to set a higher benchmark for your own self. Then only you tend to get somewhat nearer to that target. May it be 150, may it be a century or 110 odd runs or whatever. But you have to set a benchmark for yourself. You have to you have to tell yourself that if any Tom, Dick, and Harry can get you out, or the best of the best in the world can get you out. It's always a difficult time to play against such a greatest of fast bowlers who are fastest, let's say fastest in the world, or who swings the ball immensely, and they give you hard time. But you have to fight that time period. Then you have to tell your own self, let's suppose if it's a fast bowler, then he's going to bowl 4 to 5 overs max, and in those 4 to 5 overs, you are not going to face 30 odd balls in front against him. It would be the other batsmen too. Let's suppose uh, you get 15, 18, 12 balls to face. Then you have to fight with your own self, within your own self, to fight for those 12, 15 balls only, until some other bowler who's gonna come and bowl at you, who would not be as good as the other one. But you have to concentrate, and you have to let that time period pass on, because yeah, I'm talking about test cricket basically. He's going to come and bowl in the next session. That means you'll still have, you'll be able to get through to 30, 40 odd runs to your total. And you'll be, of course, feeling more stable and more confident, and you'll know the behavior of the pitch in a better way, and you can cope difficult times. So that's how you have to build your innings. You have to change your gears in between the innings. If it's difficult times, then you have to come to some lower, playing those fancy shots and trying to execute the ball for over 2 or 3 boundaries in an over or something, or trying to hit a sixer every now and then. All the best batsmen in the world, they come, they they see the behavior of the pitch, the bowler, how the field placing, what sort of field placing is set for them, what sort of trap they have set for you, and then you got to fight things out for that initial time period. That is the most difficult time period of a batsman when you go in, especially when you're facing a new ball on a new track, seaming wicket, or may it be a fast wicket or a hard or bouncy wicket, but you have to fight for that time period, then life gets easy. You can breathe easy later on.
Those are very valuable insights you mentioned there, Shoaib, because I think you've covered off the planning side of things, where you need to plan your innings
Yeah,
carefully and meticulously. But at the same time, I think you've touched upon aspects of mental strength as well and endurance. And you were
yeah,
a great advocate of that, I think, through some of the innings that you've obviously produced for Pakistan. And I think your father obviously was a great advocate of that as well. Very interestingly, I was reading a book recently called The Wounded Tiger by an author called Peter Osborne. And it
yeah,
discusses Pakistan cricket pre-partition and post-partition as well. Hanif Mohammad and all the other Mohammad brothers are mentioned in that um, on several occasions. And I think your father's monumental 339 versus West Indies is depicted in a lot of detail. One of the things that was mentioned was that I think Roy Gilchrist was one of the most lethal fast bowlers that was bowling in that test match where your father scored 339.
absolutely.
And I think your father got struck, bruised, and battered on a couple of occasions as well. But he stuck it out. He showed tremendous amounts of mental endurance, which I'm sure has been passed on to you, and I'm sure you will pass on to your son Shazar as well, who I know is doing very well in domestic cricket in Pakistan. And that is one of the things it seems is lacking currently in the modern day cricketer, where we don't see enough of.
The thing is, they try to play too many shots in a short time span. They are trying to show the world they have all the shots in the book. So that you have to think twice
Mhm.
whether you want to be clapped by others or you want to clap for others. That's the core point. You have to, think twice before hitting those big shots and trying to play those fancy shots every now and then. You you, you have to gather things properly. You have to build innings. It does not come easy. It does not come overnight. Cricket is probably the most difficult ball game in the world because it has such intricacies that you have to, give a lot of time to it. Uh, you might be one of the lucky few, but everyone is not that lucky. So one has to uh, work really hard for it. You got to eat, breathe, drink, and sleep with cricket. Then only those type of things will come into your mind. You won't want to throw your wicket away, and you occupy the crease for longer, and then that's how you become a great batsman. From there, then there are times, Sharez, when you got to assess some innings or some matches are bigger than others. And you got to grasp that opportunity if it's thrown towards you. If you are playing back in India, that is a big opportunity. From to from becoming from boys to men club. You got to think really hard and do your best of the best.
And
So these are some of the points that today's youngsters they don't think that hard or deep enough where they can sustain that kind of pressure. And if there is a pressure situation, uh, and they just try to hit a boundary out of that pressure, and sometimes if they are lucky they'll get away, but sometimes most of the time they'll get out at the same time, and then the rest is history, and they can sulk it for the rest of their lives. Sometimes you only get one or two chances. Some boys are not lucky enough.
and Shoaib, do you think that the problem is just with the players and their lack of application, or is there a wider issue with the Pakistan cricket not necessarily selecting the right players? And what I mean by that is we see time and time again these days. White ball cricket is being given priority. We play a lot more white ball cricket than we do Test cricket. In your time, there was a lot more Test cricket that was being played, and as a result, we see players maybe not having the same level of patience or concentration. We see players who have done well in T20s being selected for one days or Test matches. We see players who are doing well in one day cricket being selected for Test matches, and vice versa. So is it just the players not applying themselves enough, or is there a wider issue with the PCB not necessarily selecting right players. And just before you answer that, sorry, recently we saw the likes of Shadab Khan and Fahim Ashraf and Kushtal Shah being reselected and coming back into the fold, where these players have not necessarily done a great deal in domestic cricket whilst they've been away over the last year to really just maybe justify their return. So are these really the solutions for Pakistan? I guess is what I'm saying.
The thing is, you have touched the core point of Pakistan disaster, basically. In other words, it's a good question to put. The thing is, PCB is the first one to be blamed. Among scale of 1 to 10, they are the ones who are to be blamed, in my point of view, because out of 230 odd coaches, what PCB has in their setup, most of them, 98, 99%, they have not played good cricket, or they have just played cricket, or even if they have played a test or two, or one day, a couple of one day matches, that doesn't mean they are the masters of the trade. They were tested, they failed, and they were thrown back towards back into the club cricket or the first class setup. So now the thing is, those are the players out of 230 odd. They are the ones who has not been there, done that. They have not gone into the deep end of the ocean. Until unless you know the pressures of going into deep ocean, the upthrust, the buoyancy, the difficulties, the pressures, the danger, those sort of things, you don't tend to learn the minute intricacies of the finer points of the game. I know this one player, Nasir Afridi. He's from Peshawar, and he's a brilliant bat for a T20 game and even for ODI cricket. But he's not given chances for even his regional team. And I still believe he's one of the best players around Pakistan today. And he had not been given chances. I've seen him bat, and I've seen all the current setup of players as well. I was with the Pakistan under 19 team in recent past. These two guys, Uwais and Azan and Riaz, they, in my view, they are such players who can play very good against spinners. They use their footwork. They play very good cricket against faster bowlers. And they're running between, and they're street smart cricketers. They are the ones who can serve Pakistan for more than 10 years. They are still not given chances. So, how do you assess these players? These are the favoritism is so much visible in Pakistan team. Like you just mentioned, Shadab got into the team without getting. He had been a good cricketer. I totally agree. But you have to do something extraordinary well to get back into a
Get
side.
back into the
And
team.
being a
Correct.
vice captain, that shows straight away that what sort of favoritism you are being given. So until unless they rectify that process of, most of the time 2020 performance are to be considered for a test team, and they are chucked into a test team, and if they have done 20 there's so much of uh, bad decisions being made by the PCB, and of course, then of course, players themselves has to be blamed, but they are not being taught in that a manner. What some of the lucky ones, like one myself, of course, because I've been brought up in this great family of, and which has a legacy of
Absolutely.
great cricketers. That's how Pakistan PCB runs their cricket, which is sad.
And ultimately it culminates in the Champions Trophy, for instance, where the best part of 290 crore rupees were spent on hosting the Champions Trophy, and we got absolutely humiliated in the two games that we played. And thankfully, we didn't play against Bangladesh. Otherwise, I feared that we might succumb in that game as well. Every average supporter and fan was calling out for additional spinners to be playing in that squad, in that team. Every opposition team had more than at least one regular spinner, and we were going in with Abrar Ahmed as the only regular spinner, which was a recipe for disaster in my opinion. But it just emphasizes the point that you've already made, the fact that favoritism and perhaps coaches being there who themselves might not have played the game in any great detail. Shoaib, if I can ask, as a batting great yourself, obviously, Babar Azam is our only batting superstar, I would say, over the last decade, ever since the likes of Inzamam, Yunus Khan, Mohammad Yusuf, Misbah have retired, obviously. He's obviously gone through a very bad patch. He's perhaps not performing at the same standard as he was previously. Do you think criticism of him is justified or over the top at the moment?
He's still the best of the batsmen Pakistan has. It is a pity that he has been scolded on the social media and by so many players at the same time. 30, 40 runs innings by him doesn't count for. Of course, he also understands that 30, 40 runs is not good enough because he's among the top run getters and being in the top list of ICC ranking in so many for last so many years. So the thing is, all just today I was asked this question that what had happened, and I suggested a few things. Uh, and it is just a mental thing. What because he being Babar Azam himself, he wants to show the world that what a great player he is, and his execution through covers and straight drives are loved by everyone, including myself. He's too eager to show the world that his exclusive shots through his bat should be seen from the word go. And he tries to, go through the shots. And in doing so, he's making those mistakes. Why? Because people have gathered the comfort zone area where the bowlers bowl at him are not, those balls are not given or fed to him every now and then. It is just slight short of length and on the rise. Earlier, he used to execute those shots to perfection for boundaries. These days, he is, having difficult times. He feels like if he is in troubled waters, and that is the case. But he has to, put a reverse gear. To my understanding, all he should do is try to cut down his shots to perfection or to those boundaries rather than those boundaries. If he tries to just play those shots for a single or a double, if he times it better, then he will still get a boundary. But if he doesn't, because when you try to force the ball through covers, you have to hit it hard. You have to follow it through. And while doing it, if the ball is not, if you are late or if you are not at the right position, then the ball takes your edge or you get beaten or you make a gap in between bat and pad, and that's how the ball coming in makes a gap, and if he tries to just make a single out of those balls, he'll he'll save himself his own wicket, and most likely he'll those initial 20, 30, 40 runs would be much easier for him to score, I believe. He wants to score more boundaries rather than more singles. It is the other way around. All the great batsmen, of course, he knows it, but sometimes the mind gets switched off, and you think you are still in the same plinth of of supremacy, and you try to hit those shots what you had been scoring and achieving those runs. And but there are times when the body gets slow or your technical ability is not agile enough sometimes. It's a mental blockade. That's all I can say.
Really good advice. Shoaib bhai, Rizwan, Salman Ali Aga, and Shan Masood are three captains currently in the three formats. Well, just a quick word about each one of them. What do you make of them so far?
Salman Aga has proved himself from batting at seven position and making himself available to bat at number four or higher up the order. He has been among the run getters. Every now and then, you see Salman scoring runs. He's a street smart cricketer, a fighter, and he had done really well. Whereas um, Rizwan, I believe he had more potential earlier on than what he has today. Maybe because of too much of uh, politics, captaincy issues, and uh, his shot selection. There's lots going up his mind, and that's where he's making too many mistakes. In other words, and Shan, uh, I believe he is a technically very correct batsman, and if he's given more chances, even in ODIs and even in T20s, he'll still be better than most of the available players who had been playing for Pakistan lately.
Shoaib bhai, if you were playing in an era when you had the likes of Desmond Haynes, Viv Richards, Lee Ambrose, Courtney Walsh were coming onto the scene at that time as well. How would you compare that era compared to the current modern day batsmen have to face in terms of bowling?
The thing is, straight away they have cut down the bouncer rule to two bouncers only. The thing is, earlier they used to bowl four consecutive bouncers towards you, and then the weaker at the heart or weaker at the knees players would just go back into the wicket on the back foot, and that's how they used to get wickets, either bowl them out or getting LBWs and all. I'm talking about test cricket at the moment. So when there's a test, then you are bound to get difficult time, face difficult. You got to face the music. In other words, of course, a lot of harsh words coming on from short legs and slip area, and sometimes the whole crowd used to be against you, and shouting out loud something which will take your morale down at least. So, and that is the time to confront the situation. And those were much difficult times, in other words. And today, with referees, you can't say anything to a batsman, you can't show gestures. And otherwise, the mics are there to be, everything would be recorded and everything. So life is much easier today. And when we used to play, I was lucky enough, and thank God that I was in that era where the greatest of the players were to be seen uh, in the arena around the world. Every other team had some superstars. We had superstars in our team. We used to face superstars against superstars every now and then, like what you just mentioned, Haynes, Greenwich, Viv Richards, Richard Richardson.
Of course.
Great players like this used to come and bet against you. Then bowlers, entourage of fast bowlers, Walsh and Marshall and Ambrose and Bishop, and such great players and bowlers used to be confronted every now and then. And then, of course, in against England, both you name it, everybody had great players. You got to show the world what your metal you are made of. You had to show full guts. how strong mentally you are. Otherwise, only technique doesn't help you. You got to be much brave out here and mentally strong at the same time to pass on that time period, the difficult time period, like what I mentioned earlier in the interview. So, so you got to think on those lines during that period. And now, of course, pitches are much better. ICC says this the pitches should be 300 plus runs. So the more the broadcasters would be having their advantages, and so many other things are involved in between. So definitely time period uh, back then was far difficult and superior at the same time. That's why players of yesteryears around the world, they are still superstars, big superstars today.
Correct. I think they're unrivaled and unparalleled to the modern day
Absolutely,
cricketers
absolutely.
because there were so many more difficulties at that time. Final question for you, Shoaib. I was always curious to find out what was it like growing up in the Mohammed household for you? Because you you had uncles who had represented Pakistan at the highest level. You had a father who represented Pakistan at the highest level and was regarded as one of the finest batsmen ever produced. My understanding is that
Mashallah.
your grandmother was a national badminton champion. Your grandfather was a good club cricketer. So, what was it like growing up in that sort of household in the early years?
Shariz, I was lucky enough not to be born uh, today. The thing is, because we didn't had any cell phones or no activity, no PlayStations and everything. So there was only one thing, and that was either back home or into a field, cricket field, or any playground or roadside, or even outside the house. One was involved in playing and just playing every now and then. Maybe 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes, or you name it. So I was lucky enough, and I was blessed to be, be part of the famous legacy of the Mohammed brothers, and it was pretty difficult at the same time because, as you know, and you mentioned that we being the record itself stayed for 32 years, only the father and son in the world to score over 200 runs. And after 32 years, Chandrapal's son also scored. But I still have two double centuries and dad also. So definitely that is a big achievement. There's so many sons who had played cricket, but none had achieved superior performance in Test cricket at least.
Also, the record for three generations to have scored double centuries, because I understand that your son Shazar has also scored a double century along with Hanif Mohammed and yourself.
Scored 265 odd runs, and and just imagine after scoring that scoring world record, he was not given a chance in the third match. Uh, second match. He got 19 odd runs on a wet wicket, and he was chucked out. And he's still striving to get back into. That's what I was trying to tell you, that that's the PCB house PCB setup is. And but anyways, but coming back on to my thing. Uh, uh, lots of friends and teachers used to say, when will you be breaking your father's test record? That was a big morale booster for me in school days. That yes, I would be playing for Pakistan, but I have to score high performances, or some record has to be broken, or I have to make some records at the same time. So that was also a kick for me. Yes, I would be playing, inshallah, one fine day for Pakistan. You have to set high goals, and
But
all
Shoaib bhai,
sometimes
sorry, Shoaib bhai, did that add any extra pressure on you as well? Do you, was it just an honor to be representing Pakistan and following your father's footsteps, or was it added pressure for you as well to be measured against your father all the time?
It was very difficult because even when I started playing cricket, all the selectors were against me. The captain, most of the cricket team players were against me. The crowd also sometimes, they used to hoot against me. And on top of everything, the board itself and the media. And there used to be times when they used to write articles against me all throughout the year. Even I was scoring centuries or performing well, but they had this inclination of writing something against me. So I never used to read anything good or anything bad. Both were not to be seen by me. Then, of course, this article came uh, when I was among the highest run getters that Shoaib lets his bat do the talking. So that was a good answer from my side without saying a word.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I think your stoic and resolute attitude has always come to the fore, and you've demonstrated it with your runs and various world records as well. So I think a great achievement. Shobai, thank you very much for your time, by the way. Really appreciate you taking
Thank
the
you,
time out
Jared.
today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.